Alright guys, so check this out. I have the Torqeedo on my Kusa FD, my Kraken 15.5, and my U-Pick. And I run that Torqeedo all the time, all over the place. But, fishing the Galveston Redfish series this year, and no motors. So, I love paddling anyway, and I love paddling the Kraken. And U-Pick paddle's okay. So, but I'm a rudder fan and a big rudder fan. So I had to figure out a way to get this to work on all the kayaks with the Torqeedo bracket and the Torqeedo rigging. Okay, so that rod gets a hole drilled off center because you need the room. And then I piloted 2 stainless screws in at angles at different elevations along here to stop this and lock this solid. The reason that needs to be locked solid like that is so that this can sit in there and spin. Here's an example of it in that hole and turning 90 degrees. 90 degrees. And it's spaced off of that nylon because of the bungee knot that's required for the self-retracting. Yeah, this is a spring-loaded rudder. Alright, so here's the rudder and the Torqeedo mount assembled and ready. So you can see I have stainless steering loops. They'll go on to your foot control steering just like everything else. I've got the 90-degree turning. The rod is in there. Everything's good. Now here's the trick with this thing. Because this is essentially a spring-loaded rudder, the lift line from the kayak, the lift line from the Torqeedo will attach here via a little ring, and your lift line for the Torqeedo will lift this rudder out because it's the same geometry. The trick is, because this is spring-loaded, what I was struggling with was I had Trey's rudder from Innovative Sportsman, and it's a great rudder. It's a great rudder, and it's got this rod that goes through, and then this aluminum blade. Right here. So it's a good rudder. It's a great design. It does not work with my steering geometry, and it does not work where I fish. Deep water, I can definitely see it working fantastic. Freshwater lakes, excellent. I fish a lot of oyster and saltwater, and you can just imagine how much noise an aluminum blade makes. So initially, I said, okay, I'm going to take the blade off of my old rudder and put it on the rod. Well, the blade diameter and working the rod, and I broke the rod. And I said, okay, so we're going to have to figure something else out. And then I was having a problem where every time I would put pressure on the rudder with both of my feet, the rudder would lift. And then you'd have to lock the Torqeedo block in order to keep the rudder down. And once again, in deep water and in freshwater, that's fantastic. In 7 inches of water with oyster and mud, that doesn't work. So I needed the spring-loaded rudder to always return back down unless it was in the stowed up position. This rudder, the Wilderness Systems rudders and the older style Wilderness System rudders and Confluence rudders have a lift line and a lift and a deploy line. And I didn't want to run extra lines since I'm already lined for the Torqeedo. So this rudder is the answer. It's essentially spring-loaded with the bungee. The trick is that all you have to do is lock the block. So on the Torqeedos, we use reverse, and when you use reverse, the motor wants to kick up. So we have a lock that sits there that pulls on this and actually throws these and grabs the rod that's in the mount. So if you lock this and you have free steering and you have stow and deploy on spring, you get the best of all the worlds all at one time. Let's put it on the kayak and see how it works. Alright, fishing the Galveston Redfish series and no motors. So this is the ultimate test of the modification for the rudder here on the Kraken. So I'm in the Kraken, and I've got the Torqeedo mount with the bracket, and I've got the Selectrax rudder. Now I do not have 90-degree turning. I've got about 75, 80 degree, but it's been fine. And everything is using the factory lift lines. So the modification to the block, just remember to lock the block. I have it locked with the bungee back there, and been using this all day here in the wind. It's fantastic. Got 2 fish in the live well too. See ya.